an e-board member last year, came through Temple as an exercise and sports science major, which is awesome. She was also a student athlete, so I had the opportunity of also getting involved with that stuff with her outside of exercise and sports science. So with that being said, though, she's here to talk a little bit and do a little bit of Q&A tonight because she's at a program for a certificate in health and physical education through K-12. She's also a stretch practitioner, if only I could speak, at Stretch Zone, which is also it's really interesting. So feel free to ask her questions about what that entails being a stretch practitioner. Morgan can also elaborate on that. So, I mean, if we want to start out, Morgan, you can kind of just give us a little bit about your story. I know I kind of said a basic of like what you've done at Temple and like what you're doing now, but definitely feel free to give us how you got there, what you've been doing, little things like that. And then we can go into a bit of a Q&A casual conversation.
Awesome. Hey guys, like she said, I'm Morgan. I see some familiar faces, which is nice. It's refreshing. First and foremost, thank you guys for having me tonight. And second, I hope you guys are staying safe. I'm sure you've heard the spiel from all your professors, but hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, all that good stuff, taking care of yourselves. So like Kayla said, I got my BS in exercise science, just graduated in the spring. I was also a cheerleader. I was captain of the cheerleading team for my senior year. So being a student athlete definitely really helped me with like my time management, kind of just becoming more of an independent like person in terms of like working hard, getting all my work done, all that good stuff. And I understand it's been like a different experience for you guys since like, I don't know, Temple was like, oh, we're going to try to be in person. Oh, now we're completely online. So I know you guys have been kind of like tossed in the ringer, and I'm sure it's been a very different experience for you guys. But I wanted to share a couple things that helped me. So being a student athlete, obviously you have to have avid time management skills. So that was super important. So I would literally write things down, write them down again, and then write them down again so that I wouldn't forget. So I always had something to look at. So I kept like one of those whiteboard calendars. I wrote all my assignments down in that. I kept a monthly planner, wrote all my stuff in that, and then a weekly planner, wrote all my stuff in that. So I would not forget a thing. So planning is really important, and just being independent. So don't rely so much on your peers to, oh, I need to go study, but I don't want to go by myself. Like, don't be afraid to just like go do stuff. Like, go do stuff by yourself, because it's going to make you very autonomous, and it's going to teach you self-efficacy and holding yourself accountable for getting your work done, all that good stuff. Also, talk to people. I know it's important to like have independence, but it's also important to talk to your peers. Like, if you need help, go to them. If you need help, your professors, all the ESS staff will help you. They're all very willing to help you, and they want you to be successful. That's why they do what they do. Also, work hard, which that just speaks for itself. So yeah, those are a couple things that helped me. And a little bit about my program now. So I'm at Eastern University. They offer a wide variety of teaching certifications. So right now, I'm in the health and physical education certification, which will set me up to take the Praxis 2, which is the Pennsylvania State teaching certification exam. And then I believe there's another certification exam specifically for health and phys ed. So this will set me up for that. Also, if you're interested in teaching as well, all of the prereqs for this program are basically our Bachelor of Science in Exercise and Sports Science. So if that's something that you want to continue your education in, I found this and I was like, okay, this is perfect. I have all my prereqs. I'm gonna do it. Because like I knew deep down, I've always known deep down that I wanted to be a teacher. Like, I love kids. I work with kids in the summer. I'm a coach. I coach cheerleading, and I'm a tumbling coach. So I love helping young athletes with what helped me when I was like them. So the program is completely online. It would have been like a hybrid. So it would have been like partially in person, partially online. But they ended up putting it completely online, as well as all of their Master of Education certifications. All of them are online, just to be safe with, COVID. And I just wanted to get into education because it was new to me. Like, I had all my background in the science, anatomy, physiology, all that good stuff. And I just wanted to like branch out, find something new. And I'm really enjoying it so far. So yeah, that's about my program. It's only 36 credits and it includes student teaching, which is awesome. You do have to apply for student teaching, but you just got to find the right school that'll take you. Right now, I'm working at Stretch Zone, which is a stretch franchise. So we offer a service called practitioner assisted stretching. So practitioner being me, our clients come in, they lay down on a table with all these crazy straps. We strap them down, we isolate their muscles, and we give them a good stretch. They just relax. We do all the work. It's a really cool concept. It's pretty new. I think it's about 6 years old. The franchise started in Miami, Florida, and then they actually had someone at the University of Florida working there who was from New Jersey. So they brought her up here to open. I think there's like 6 stores in the Northeast now. So it's a really fast growing company. And there's a lot of growth within the company. It's awesome. She actually just got promoted. So she was our regional manager because she helped open all the stores. And now she's a VP like a month later. Crazy. So a lot of room for growth in this company, which is awesome. And it's a great like stepping stone for me as I'm pursuing my teaching certificate as well. I'm going to show you guys a video am I able to share my screen?
Yes, you are. I'm going to give you permission based off of the security. So you are good to go.
Okay, cool. I'm going to show you guys 2 videos. So the first one is from the founder of Stretch Zone. His name is Jordan Gold. So he kind of came up with the whole concept.
Hello, I'm Jordan Gold, founder of the Stretch Zone, the leading authority of practitioner-assisted stretching. And today I want to talk about the why. When I say why, I'm talking about purpose. My why started back with my grandfather. When I was a kid, my grandfather was my best friend all through my life. And later in his life, in about the late 90s, he became really lethargic with complications from diabetes, and he became completely bedridden, which meant that I had maybe 2, maybe 3 months left with my grandfather. So at the time I was really good at stretching, so I decided to take a table into my grandfather's house every single day and stretch him, because I thought with my goals would be basically to reduce bed sores, increase the circulation, make him more comfortable, make it easier for my grandmother to dress him when company comes over, and most importantly, just to have an excuse to spend time with him. Well, after experimenting on him for quite some time, he says to me, "Hey, Mookie," he called me Mookie, "before you go, can you get my walker? I want to go to the card room." And my heart just exploded, my chest. I was like, awesome. So I go to my grandfather, I get my walker, I give it to him, we go to the card room. And from that point on, I started experimenting because I could do anything to him. I could burn down his house and he'd be like, "You see that fire? Only my grandson can make such a fire." So he was putty in my hands. So I'm experimenting what works, what doesn't work. And I slowly got him from not moving it at all to moving with a walker, to moving with a tripod, to a cane, to dancing at my cousin's wedding. So I was at my cousin's wedding, and all of a sudden a disco song came on, and he got really excited, and he went out on the dance floor, and he took his cane and he gave it to my grandmother, and he did his little old man dance in place for one song, gave the cane back, walked back to the seat, and everyone's applauding. And I'm looking around like, why is everyone applauding? And then I realized that my uncle and my mom, they're like practically in tears, and it dawned on me, oh shoot, like everyone's grandfather needs this. And I just lit up like a Christmas tree. I just had goosebumps all over me, because what happened was the small changes that he saw over the course of a year, I didn't take notice of it. But to the people in the crowd, they haven't seen him for a year. The last time they saw him, he was bedridden. So from that was the day that my why was formed. That gave me my purpose in life. From there, I went home. I decided I'm going to become the best stretcher in the world. I'm going to learn from anyone and anybody that was willing to teach me anything, and have that become my passion. Very quickly, less than 2 years, I ended up with the MVP, US Open champion, heavyweight champion of the world, rock stars, entertainers, world leaders, Fortune 400 billionaires, started jet setting. But then I'm like, I'm losing the why because I'm reaching very few people. So I had to have that burn the boat moment where I just burned all the boats. I got rid of everything. I called all my clients, told them that I'm no longer available to stretching, so I can create the protocols, the procedures, the methodology, the patents, the equipment, so that I can share this with the masses. And from that, it created great time of 4 years of purposeful poverty and anxiety attacks. And one time I'm sitting there in the dark and the power's off. I got a sheriff's note on the door. I'm sitting there trembling. I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? I had a good life. Like I was like with Lenny Kravitz backstage just a couple months ago, and here I am having anxiety attacks. And then from there, I was just like, I just wish someone went to me and handed me a crystal ball so I could look into the future. Because if I had that crystal ball and looked into the future today, I would see the why. The why is now. The why is this. The why is stretch zone. This is the why. Coming in, getting a hug, creating something. This is the why. Stretch Zone's proprietary table with patented stabilization system. This is the why. Having hundreds and hundreds of people creating careers in stretching, creating a whole new movement in health and wellness. This is the why. Someone being able to lie down at a table so they can sleep through the night so they don't have sciatica pain. This is the why. So someone can hit a better golf ball than they ever did. This is the why. This is the why. Everyone has their why. People come in here so they can regain what they no longer can do and continue doing it as long as possible.
Yeah, so that's kind of an overview of how Stretch Zone started, what we're about. So you guys all know one of the most neglected pieces of exercise and sports science is stretching. No one wants to take the time to stretch. No one wants to take the time to help their range of motion. They're like, get in the gym, get out, go home, go to bed, whatever. So basically how Jordan said it, we just want to make people feel better doing their daily activities, doing the things that they love. We get all kinds of people. We get teenagers who are athletes who want to get a scholarship for college to play sports. We get old big guys who have little to no range of motion. We get golfers. We get the whole nine. So we get a very wide variety of clients. And basically, just to briefly go over the stretch reflex, our goal, yes, flexibility is our goal, but range of motion is the number one. So basically, you guys know how your stretch reflex works. If you try to stretch yourself, it stops you from going too far, from causing injury. So when we do it to someone else and they're stabilized on a table, that kind of puts a mask over that. So we are able to push their limits in a sense. So we're pushing for example, for a hamstring stretch. If I'm pushing on we push on the heels. If I'm pushing on a hamstring stretch, I'm able to say, hey, your body is able to go this far. That way, when I am not doing it and they are stretching themselves, they can get that far. So it's basically training the brain, training the muscles to say, hey, you'll be fine. If I go this far, you won't get injured. So that's basically the methodology. So our clients come in anywhere from 1 time a week to 3 times per week. All our programs are 3 months just to be able to sustain that gained range of motion. And I found this on of course, it was quarantine when I graduated and I was like, oh no one's hiring. I'm not going to get a job, but I stayed patient. I found this on Indeed and I was like, this is different and this has to do with our field. I thought it was a great concept. It's a newer concept. It's young. It's a great place for growth. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. Does anyone have any questions? I'll open it up.
I love that, Morgan. So my question is, so how does that, I love the story and everything that you talked about, why he developed his why. I'm big on my why. If you know me, the why is everything. So I was I love this man already. But with that being said, how does that work with coronavirus? I know you said you were lucky enough to find the job with coronavirus, but how does that work? Because obviously it's a job where you can't physically distance. You are stretching them, you are touching them. How does that work just with how coronavirus restrictions and everything is going on right now?
Yeah, good question. So it's kind of the same as a doctor's office. Everyone's required to wear masks. We got sanitizer. We sanitize all of our equipment at the end of the day and at the beginning of every day. We just do our best to keep everything as clean as possible. And like you said, it's a contact job, and we just have to be very careful about, our clients have been really good about telling us if they don't feel well, not coming in. We've been pushing that. Especially because flu season's coming up. So we really want to keep everyone safe. We want to keep ourselves safe, all of our staff safe. So we're just doing our best in that.
So I had a question. So how are you planning to use this stretch experience into your future setting, physical education? Will you bring this into all of your sports that you plan to coach? and teach for your future students and athletes, or what do you plan on doing?
Yeah, so I think it's a very different concept. And because there's so much equipment involved, it's kind of hard. We do have portable tables, but it's a little hard to kind of like bring that equipment with us. Like we go to conventions sometimes where, like health and fitness conventions, like we can bring a table there and whatnot when we're registered. But just kind of one of the first things I did after our training for that job was go home and try to like mimic those stretches on my own. And like some of them are a hit, some of them are a miss. It's just like I would definitely like teach my kids to just try to manipulate like their bodies in the best way that they can. So I am actually in charge of the conditioning and flexibility program at an all-star cheerleading gym in Westchester. So I'm big on stretching with those kids and trying to come up with new things because they all have different bodies, different abilities, different range of motion. So I just try to help them as much as I can in that realm. As far as physical education, obviously it's important to kind of like implement the stretching and make sure that it's important and doing it the right way, like having a warm up before stretching and not stretching your muscles while they're cold. I always tell my girls at cheerleading, get stretch after you take a shower because your muscles are warm. Just little things like that, just teaching them the do's and don'ts of flexibility, stretching, range of motion, all that good stuff.
So I guess another question, you talked about like student teaching. Is that something that you're currently already starting? I know you said it's something you have to apply for. Is that something you're currently doing, or is that like a long-term thing that you'll be getting into?
So we have to apply for student teaching a semester in advance, and that requires some prereqs that I'll have to take beforehand. So right now, for example, I'm in a curriculum development class. I'm in a teaching English as a second language class, and also educational psychology, which are basically the three like cores for this. So basically after that, you kind of have to apply a semester ahead. So no, I'm not doing it right now, but soon. And even with like COVID, I don't really know how it's gonna work. I don't know if it'll be virtual. I got lucky because my mother is actually a teacher aide, so she's been on Zoom with her kids, so I can kind of like see how it works, and that's been like super helpful for me. So and the kids are hilarious because they'll like unmute themselves and just start yelling and be like, I have a question. Da, 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 da. It's great. It's so funny to see the kids like so good with their technology, and it's changing. A lot of changes have been made, so it's going to be different. I don't know what to expect as far as student teaching goes. So
Have they discussed with the curriculum how you could possibly become successful with teaching kids how to be physically active through Zoom or through the virtual apps that we have now?
that's a good question. So not specifically. So like in my textbooks, one of my textbooks is fairly new. It's from 2019, and it's the curriculum development one. And it touches on virtual learning, but not so much. And because COVID has happened when it has, I'm sure a lot of different developments have occurred since then. But a lot of, for example, my mom's school, they have asynchronous where they can do their own thing. They don't have to meet. And then they do have synchronous physical education classes. So like they'll be on the Zoom, and I guess the teacher is just demonstrating, and the kids as if you were watching like a YouTube video, just like a follow along type thing.
So I guess where would you like to take your physical education in your future? So like what kind of lessons are you hoping to teach your kids in the future with physical education? Or where do you think it could use improvements in this country?
I think it absolutely could use improvements. I think from my personal experience, I think physical education classes from my point of view, just being in like middle school, high school, whatever, very like game based, very tactic based, and not so much like it lacked like substance. Like one of the points in curriculum development is when you're planning a lesson and when you're announcing to the kids the objectives, it's important to announce, oh, we're going to be doing aerobic exercise instead of saying, oh, we're going to go for a run. You know, there has to be some context in with what activity you're doing. What was the other part of your question? I like thought of it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just go on and I just talk. So my apologies, right?
No.
What kind of impact are you hoping to make with your kids in physical education? Like what kind of lessons, like how would you really like to improve the field and realm of physical education with your students in the future?
Well, first and foremost, it's an obvious one. I just want to be a good teacher and a good role model for kids. Like I've always worked with kids at like summer camps. I'm a coach. I just want them to like grow up and be good people first and foremost. But also just teaching them the importance of why you should live a healthy lifestyle, why you should exercise, why, and give them also like the how, like give them the tools and the encouragement and to like do it. Just kind of like get them engaged, keep them engaged, and have them realize why it's important and why they should do it. I think we kind of miss on that a lot is when we kind of do like the scare tactic thing. It's like, oh, you're going to be overweight, you're going to have high blood pressure, whatever. I think we should, preventative like concepts are super important, but I think just kind of, what's so funny? My mom's laughing at me.
Something's like making all kinds of noise outside.
Oh, something's making noise outside. But just kind of like giving them the resources they need to live that healthy lifestyle and kind of build physical literacy. Physical literacy is super important. Just knowing how to move your body, why to move your body, how often, how many days per week, all that good stuff. And just foster that kind of drive to live that healthy lifestyle into adulthood.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
So I have a hypothetical question for you, Morgan.
Hi, Mike.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I can't complain. So here's my question for you.
Yeah.
So as I think back about like my experiences in physical education growing up, right, you always had those students who really, no matter what, you couldn't really seem to get them to participate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this is a two-part question. How do you plan on getting these students to participate, the ones who really, are uncomfortable with the physical education realm? And then also, my school I went to, we had kind of two gym classes, right? We had a physical education gym class and one class called specifically strength and conditioning,
mm-hmm.
which more so than not, more kids enjoyed strength and conditioning more than physical education. So in a situation like that, where do you think you could, flip the dynamic? Because people hear strength and conditioning and they think, more action, compared to they hear physical education, they might have some type of stigma towards it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so you kind of like answered the first question with your second question. To get these kids like engaged and kind of, like you said, like some people don't feel comfortable, like exercising in front of other people or, so offering a variety, like you said, you had an S&C class and you had a PE class, kind of giving those kids choices as far as what they want to do with their physical education. That's super important, offering a variety to keep these kids engaged. I have another thought. I just remember this point from my textbook. It said the student should drive their intensity level. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, you're not working as hard as the person next to you. That shouldn't be a factor in physical education. The intensity should be driven by the child and by the student. So that's a big thing that is emphasized in PE. I'm sure we've had teachers who are like, oh, pick up the pace, let's go, da da da, like stuff like that. So to change that kind of like dynamic, I guess you said like S&C is more so like action packed. Again, just giving the kids choices, giving them like variety, giving them opportunities to succeed, because giving them those opportunities to succeed is what's going to help them continue to do it. If they find success in one thing, I'm sure they're going to continue to pursue it. And if they find success in another thing, they're going to pursue that. So it's really up to the kids, and it's important to give them that choice and give them a variety of things to choose from.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question if you guys can hear me. So in my one class, we had to like present these articles, and our teacher found this article about how like being picked last in like gym class or like for sports, that they like it had a negative effect on their physical activity later in life. And you being someone who wants to work in like as a physical educator, do you think that you will be able to like change that dynamic and not have people be like captains of teams and like you choose the teams and like stuff like that in a sense, and change that whole like negative aspect of being picked last or not being, I'm not very like athletic, so I don't want to participate, and like doing all those things to engage everybody and make sure that everyone's included, and then make sure people know that like physical education, physical activity is good for you and like that you should pursue it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the most important things about PE class is inclusion, because you're going to have kids with special needs. You're going to have kids, like you said, who are not as athletically gifted as some other kids. And it's important to keep those kids together to avoid that. So it's important for the teacher to moderate teams. If you're playing a team game or groups, you have to group those kids together to create that like accepting environment and create that cohesion and community within your class. So it's really, really important to foster that attitude and just help everyone feel important, feel like they can participate with anyone else, no matter their abilities. They can always do something. Anything else? Any other questions? I have some closing advice, if not.
I think I have a question. I've been trying to like think about it and formulate how to word it, but like, did you know you wanted to work with children first, or were you more interested in exercise first and then thought like that it would apply better to teaching kids how to exercise and have that healthy lifestyle? Like, were you more interested in like working with children or exercise, and then it came into what you do?
I think it was a little bit of both. So like I grew up playing all kinds of sports like as a kid, and I mean I knew it was important to stay active and all that good stuff. And as even when I was like in high school, we would run like little kid like cheer camps and stuff at the school, which I really enjoyed. I just have a huge passion for, if I learn something a certain way, I want to help the next person in line learn that skill. Like that's why I love teaching tumbling so much. It's because I see someone trying a skill. I'm like, I struggled with that one time. I want to help this girl get her tuck or get her back handspring. So I just kind of, I like love watching kids get that aha moment where they like get it. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, I help them do that. So it's like, it's a little bit of both. So I've been working with like littler kids since I was a freshman in high school from like our camps and stuff. But I always also like knew how important it was to stay active. So I would say it's a little bit of both. And I feel like all of us at some point, we had like a really, really good teacher and we're like, wow, I want to be like her, or I want to be like him. And like that kind of stuck with me. And I can't think of anyone like off the top of my head, like a teacher that I had, but like, I just want to be that good teacher for the next kids, you know, our next generation, and continue the trend of like the fitness lifestyle is like everywhere. There's influencers everywhere. There's all this stuff. And I just want to give kids like the right information, empower them to like do the right thing for their bodies, do the right thing for their health, their well-being, all that good stuff. So a little bit of both.
Also, I hopped on a little bit late. What age group of kids do you work with?
So anywhere 6 to 18. So most of my kids who tumble are between like 7 and 14. And then I coach at Westchester East High School, so they're older. So I get a good variety.
Okay.
So I've dealt with all of it. But
Yeah, I love the little kids. So like I just wanted to know.
yeah. I would either want to teach like elementary or high school, just because like they're still, it's kind of like the elementary school kids it's learning development. The high school kids, it's physical development. It's like emotional development. It's like you see them grow. And it's just like fascinating to me.
Do you think that like maybe there's like a lacking in like that middle school age because a lot of people gravitate towards either like younger or older?
I think in terms of like teachers, I would say so, because a lot of my colleagues that I have like in my program right now either want to do elementary or high school. I'm not really sure why that is. That's just like who I gravitate towards. Like I've always worked with littler kids and now I'm working with older kids now that I'm older. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that middle school age is like a little weird for everybody, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah,
So
of course.
to like go out of your way to work with people in the age range that's like probably like the worst part of your life,
Yeah.
honestly. Like who would want to do that? So like I was just curious.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's a very awkward time in everyone's life, I feel. Middle school is rough. To say the least.
I mean, a show that comes to my mind is Big Mouth on Netflix, right? It talks about the whole dynamic of awkwardness when you're an adolescent during those middle school years. But yeah, that's definitely a really tough time. But I'd like to continue with, the discussion with like middle school kids because I just recently watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix and how the depression rates are, skyrocketing for those, individuals because of the social media trend. How do you think you as a physical educator can kind of help out students in that regard? If you can do that, I'm just wondering if you could possibly have a great influence to maybe educate them on those topics.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that social media and like influencers, like I mentioned earlier, are, I mean, huge, growing, blowing up, especially during like quarantine when everyone had the time to post everything. Just kind of, I don't think you can like stop kids from using social media. Not that I would like want to, but it's just kind of like the purpose. Like just in general, some people use it for, outside gratification, outside like, I don't know, approval of other people. And like, that's where it can get dangerous. Like some people post things because they want to and they love it and they want to share it with the world, which is awesome. But can also, I mean, it's a place where a lot of bullying happens, a lot of anonymous stuff, and it can be very dangerous. So just teaching the kids like the safety of social media, keeping things private, only allowing certain people to follow them, things like that, just in general. In terms of like physical education, I know screens have been a problem since, like, for example, my school district, kids, what's the age that they get iPads? First grade? First grade. First graders get handed an iPad and they do their schoolwork on them. I was like, are you kidding me? So that, great thing for education. Again, technology is awesome and the kids know how to use it better than us probably. And in that respect, great. In terms of screen time, sitting around, sedentary time, just encouraging them to get off their screen, get outside for an hour a day, get on their feet, do something with their body. I think that's the best thing we can do, is to continue to just emphasize the importance of getting off your butt and doing stuff.
Yeah, no, thank you. Does anybody else have any great questions? Oh, Jermichael, you have a question?
Well, just to add on to what Morgan just said, next week we have Dave Brixius talking to us, and literally based off of exactly what Morgan said, his biggest philosophy in his training is play, right? And I feel like it's so important. I see, and I was just talking to somebody about this, the fact that parents, for some reason, reward their children with punishment by giving them their iPhone or iPad is kind of, detrimental to what, really needs to happen in terms of development. Because I remember if I were to get in trouble when I was young, I would get sent outside to go do, be outside away from my parents, so I'm not annoying them. So I agree with Morgan on that the fact that, kids are getting away from the factors of playing. And I think that that's what essentially leads up to the soft tissue musculoskeletal issues that we see, is that these kids aren't playing, these kids' joints aren't getting the same type of movements that we were getting when we were younger. So yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that.
That was wonderful perspective, Jermichael. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, then Morgan, I think you say you had closing remarks. Yes? No, maybe so?
Yeah, so just a little advice for this time. I know, like I said earlier, graduating during this time wasn't great. I didn't have to sit in a chair for 4 hours, which was cool. You got to pick out the positives of this. Just some advice for you guys: be patient. Like I said, I graduated in the spring and during COVID, and I was like, oh my gosh, no one's hiring. I'm never gonna get a job. Like blah blah blah. Don't do that to yourself. Stay patient. You will find something that works for you. You'll find something that you love. Just be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the people around you. All that good stuff. You don't have to have it all figured out. I thought I wanted to do strength and conditioning for the longest time. Figured out after graduation, wasn't really into it anymore. Found something else. I'm doing okay. All right. Another one, work hard, find the thing that you love. Money will come. Okay. Don't worry about the price tag on your job. If you love it, the money will come. Have fun. I know that's kind of like a hard one right now with all of the restrictions and things, but don't take any moment you have in college for granted, because it really, really goes fast. It's super fast, faster than high school, really, really fast. So take everything in, love your friends, make memories, all that good stuff. Also, believe in yourself. I spent a lot of time, I'm like a perfectionist, and I spent a lot of time beating myself up for not getting grades I wanted, all that good stuff. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do it. Just look at whatever is on your paper, move on to the next thing. Okay. Believe in yourself, because if no one else does, you gotta believe in yourself. Okay. That's all.
I love that, Morgan. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Okay. Anything from anyone else? Any last minute questions before we let Morgan go? But overall, guys, that was really great. We had some great questions, and it was really interesting to hear about Stretch Zone and everything else too, things that I didn't know much about. So that was really insightful. And I loved all the pieces of advice, because we all need that right now, especially with coronavirus.
Yeah, I hope you guys are all staying safe, staying healthy, doing all that good stuff. I don't really know how it's been like on campus or whatever, but hope everyone's happy, healthy, all that good stuff. Hang in there. Hopefully, if everyone cooperates, changes will happen, things will open up. You'll get to hug your friends again, hopefully. But thanks again for having me, guys. Good luck, everyone. Whatever year you're in, I hope you enjoy. So that's all. That's all I got.
Thank you, Morgan.
No problem.
Okay. And for anyone else who wasn't on the beginning of the call, we'll be posting a lot about it, sending out email links, but our store is open as well. So if you guys want some cute exercise and sports science stuff, we got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got sweatpants, absolutely everything. We even got face masks. So definitely check that out as well. I think, Mike, that's the only really announcement we have, right? Unless you got anything else.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to say this just for all the viewers that missed out for tonight. So we are going to post this video on YouTube, and I just wanted to take the time right now to express my appreciation for Morgan. So she actually constructed the ESSA logo for last year, and it's her logo that is being featured on all of the apparel. So yeah, she's doing phenomenal things in her life right now, you know, being a stretch practitioner, being a physical educator, and she just made a great logo. So Morgan, we hope that you get some awesome gear because it's well deserved. All right. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
The logo is really cute though. Like I'm really gonna go buy something now, even though I don't have the money for it. I'm interested.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
It's adorable. Thank you.
Well, also, Merv is on tomorrow, guys.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Merv Lumba is going to be on 7 p.m. Eastern Time, October 8th, 2020. So he will be on, and you know, we hope that we get a big audience, and you know, we just continue to learn, we continue to grow, and all those good things. All right. Hey guys, thank you for coming on, and have a great night. Morgan, let's give her some 2 claps right now. 2 claps. 2 claps. Boom. I like that. Let's get it going. All right. Good night, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Have a great night.
Morgan, you're the best. Thank you.
Oh, I miss you guys. Bye.